Okay, I had a request to do a video on grammar that will help you in the reading test, and I think this is a very good idea. People don't focus enough on it. Specifically, grammar can help you in gap-fill type questions, such as complete the sentence or the tables, maybe even a diagram. So before we do that though, I need to make sure that you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the 8 parts of speech. Now, English has 8 parts of speech. Do you know them? I'm going to do this really quickly. If you don't know them, pause the video or think about them. What is the first one? The first one is nouns. So this can be single, plural, countable, uncountable. What's next? Next is verbs. So that's for actions and doing words. To describe nouns, we use adjectives. To describe verbs or to describe adjectives, we use adverbs. To connect two sentences with words like but or because or and, those words are called conjunctions. Words that describe place and sometimes time, describe position, are called prepositions. In, on, at, to, by, with, from, of. Words like he, she, it, we, you, they are called pronouns. They behave like nouns, it's just usually for people or things. And finally, a slightly more complicated one called determiners. These can be articles, such as, well, there's only 3. There's a, or an, or the. And quantifiers, don't worry about this too much. These aren't so important. The things like some and any. Alright, so really I'm going to focus on this today. But when I do all of these videos, you need to know these words because I speak about them a lot. These are the 8 parts of speech. All English words can fit into one of these groups. Great, let's get on with the video then. So today I'm going to talk about nouns. For these gap-fill exercises, nouns are by far the most common type of word that you will choose as your answer. I would estimate more than 80% of the time. Let me give you a quick example. This is a history of glass. In this video we're going to be using the Cambridge 12 readings. But don't worry, I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm not going to show you where the answers are in the text. So if you haven't done these readings yet, it's fine. I'm just going to show you in the gap fills what kind of word you're looking for and how you know that. So you can continue with the video even if you haven't done Cambridge 12 yet. Anyway, all I wanted to point out here is that's a noun, that's a noun, that's a noun, that's a noun, that's a noun. Noun, noun, and noun. They're all nouns, and that's very common. So really we want to really focus on the grammar surrounding nouns and how we can learn more about that noun from the grammar around the noun in the rest of the sentence. Okay, so nouns can be countable or uncountable. Then if they are countable, they can be single. That means they have no S on them, or they can be plural, and that means they have an S on them. We're really going to be looking for these ones because these ones really help us, as we will see later. Also, nouns can be uncountable, and that means that they have no S. So let's look at our first rule. The first rule is very simple. It's just about the articles. You want to look in front of the noun, and if there is a or an there, then you know that it's a single countable noun and that has no S. That's probably the easiest one of all of these, but it does really help you. If you see that, you should be quite happy. So let's look at 1 or 2 examples of that from readings from Cambridge 12. So this is the intersection of health sciences and geography. It was a passage 2 from Cambridge 12, and there was a nice big gap fill there. There was a small over there, and that just told us single countable noun, and it really helps you because there are not many of those. Similarly, we did Lost City, also Cambridge 12, and there was an over there, and we had a single countable noun there. This one was really important because in that sentence there weren't many single countable nouns. One thing to be careful of here is just make sure that there is not a noun after the gap. For example, in Cork, the first reading that we did, there is over there. So some students make the mistake of thinking, okay, so I'm looking for a noun. But the noun is there, material. So that noun belongs to this So there you're looking for an adjective. Don't make that mistake. Great. So then, next rule, if there is no or an in front of the noun, that probably means it is going to be plural countable or uncountable noun. Probably because in English it's never certain, but I'm even going to delete probably because really for your purposes it's going to be pretty much all of the time. So I'll delete probably. That means that's fine. We will see later there's some other information that we can get to decide between these two. Finally on this, I just want to say be careful of the. It can be anything. We can have the in front of plural, in front of single, in front of uncountable. So the does not give you any information. I'll just give you a quick couple of examples of this. Let's go to this. There is our adjective. We know we're looking for a noun over here. There is no over here, so we know that this is either countable or plural. Another example is it has an impact on nearby what. There's no or an over here, so we're looking for a noun which is either countable or plural. Right. Now, next rule is called subject-verb agreement. And this can be a very, very, very powerful, very, very helpful rule to help you find your answers. Before I talk about it, I must just talk a little bit about sentence structure and what I call a sentence. So the basic sentence structure is a subject, a verb, and I just call this X because it can be so many things. Some people call it object, some people call it complement, but there are many possibilities. So I just call it SVX. That's my shorthand, my quick language for a sentence, SVX. Okay, so the sentence can be something as simple as that. It can be two sentences joined with a conjunction. Then you have a new subject over here, a new verb. So the conjunction could be but or and or because, things like that. Then another very common one that you really should know for your writing as well, we will do it in the writing course a lot, is this one, using a which. Then this which is talking about whatever is in X. And there's usually not a subject over there. It's possible that there is sometimes, but for our purposes today, we don't need a subject over there. So this verb is talking about whatever is over there. Alright, so you know this, I'm sure. The verb must agree with the subject. If it's it, you will say walks with an S. If it's they, you will say walk with no S. Alright, you know that. But we're going to focus on is and are today. And all of this is that if you're looking at your sentence in the questions, you need an answer there. There is a gap in the subject of the sentence. It can be in that subject, it can be in that subject. That's where the answer is. Then look at the verb, and the verb will give you information. If the verb is, or if the verb is eats, something with an S, walks, then you know that that answer that you're looking for is single or uncountable. That often doesn't help you that much, but when this is are, when that verb is are, or when the verb is got no S like eat or walk, then you know the answer that you're looking for in the subject is plural countable. So let's look at some examples of that. This one was a great one for that. There is S, there is V, there is X. Okay, so we've got a head over there, don't worry about that. S, V, X. That is R. That means that this is a plural countable noun and it's going to end in S. And if you find that sentence or sentences, you will see that there aren't many words that end in S, and it really, really helps you to choose the correct one, the correct noun. Plural countable. That means ends in S. Very important. Okay. Again, it happens over here. You're looking for a plural countable noun, a word that ends in S. And then again it happens over here, but this is that other example. This is this scenario. They used a relative pronoun, that, which, who. Then you must look at this verb, and actually this is the subject of this whole clause over here. So it's the grammar is slightly more complicated. Let's look at it again. There's the relative pronoun. This is actually X of this whole thing, but it's S of this whole thing. So because this doesn't say burns, it says burn, no S. That means this is plural countable. So in this test, 3 of these you could find out that they were plural countable by looking at the verb. Great. Let's look at another example. This was collecting as a hobby, a passage 2, and that told us some information because, yes, this time there is an S there. That means this is either countable singular or uncountable. And one more example. It's actually from Cambridge 11, the first reading in Cambridge 11. Also had some gapful. And it was over there. Same thing, that third structure with a relative pronoun over there. This R is talking about this word over here. That means that this is a plural countable noun. This really helped you with this question. If you went to that sentence, you saw immediately there is only one word there with a plural countable with an S on it. So it was easy to find if you noticed this grammar. I just want to add before we finish for this video is a bit shorter. It's not only is or are, of course, it can also be in the past tense. So it can also be was or were. But for the past tense, it only applies for to be. Only to be. We will see other verbs, it doesn't work. For to be, was or were, also look at that. Let's look at an example. So this was history of glass. And it was there. This is were, and that means that this must be plural countable noun. It must have an S on it. If it was, then this would be singular. Alright. I'm just going to put you, but not other verbs. Because in the past tense, the other verbs are the same. For our example of eat, it just becomes 8 and 8. There's no S. Only to be for the past does this work. Then just one little word of caution. Be careful of modal verbs because they change the main verb. I'll give you an example. In this one over here, it was can prevent. Okay, yes, we knew that it was single because of the over there, but that's not always the case. This verb will always be the infinitive form of the verb after a modal verb. Modal verbs are can, could, may, must, should, may, might, all of those. There's never any S after that. So that doesn't give you any information. Just be careful of the modal verb. Alright, we're going to continue talking about nouns in the next video. But first I just want to do some quick examples to show you how this can help you. I'm going to take some examples from this book. It's also a very good book. I'll do it much later after I've done most of the Cambridge books. It's a difficult book, but a very good one. Also comes from Cambridge University Press. Right, let's look at one of these. Okay, so this was a passage 1. It's called Dover Bronze Age Boat, and we had some kind of a gap fill in the form of a process timeline. So, what can you see? That one, of course, single countable noun. Let's go and find 1992. 1992 was over there. We're looking for a single countable noun. Let's just go back, see what they say. Construction of something. What were they constructing? They were building a new road. So your answer there was road. Single countable noun. Right. An international something. So this is an adjective. This because we have an over there. Single countable noun again. This supports that. Of course, if it's was, it's going to be a single countable noun. Let's find 2002 and look for a single countable noun. There's 2002. Can you see a single countable noun somewhere over here? It could be anniversary, it could be discovery, it could be conference, it could be meeting. So there immediately you've narrowed it down to 4 possible words, but that word then, that adjective then helps us, and we know that we're looking for that one there. Single countable noun, conference. Great. Next. This one is the most helpful, 2004, but what do you see? Take a look, pause the video, look at this one closely, please. What do you see? That's what you should see. Were. That means this is plural countable noun. Let's find it. 2004. There's our sentence over there. It could be somewhere over there, but in this example, it's just a sentence. Where's the plural countable noun? A word that ends with S. Bam. You don't even need to know what it is. You can just put that in your answer. Proposals. These two didn't help us because there was the and the. The doesn't help us, remember. And past tense of other verbs not to be, past tense of other verbs not to be, they don't help us. So this could have been anything. Right, one more. This one was about insect secrets of the swarm. Again, they had this kind of thing, kind of a process. But I just want you to notice that explore, not explores. That means plural countable noun. Find honeybee. Honeybee was over there. Plural, and there's our process language. Plural countable noun. Can you see plural countable noun? Sites or scouts. Sites is there. Scouts is there. That's your answer, scouts. And there wasn't much else to help us in here. This was just obviously a single countable noun. This was interesting. It's quite an advanced grammar. It's increased because this is actually 2 things. That's the plural. So this can be anything. Be careful of this one. There is your noun. You're not looking for a noun here. You're looking for an adjective. Great. One more quickly. This was trees in trouble. I think it was a passage 1. Yeah. I just want to focus on this one over here. There was an R over there, so if you found Amazon strong something can damage the trees, so we know that we're looking for a plural countable noun. It was a slightly more difficult one because it was somewhere in here. But if you look for the words that end in S, what can damage a tree? A word that ends in S. Somewhere. A reason? No. There we go. A wind. A wind can damage a tree, and we were looking for the word that ended in S. This one, because of has, it's either uncountable or single countable. Same over there, either uncountable or countable. Alright, great. We went through those quite quickly, but as you can see, they can be very useful. Finding single, finding plural. Don't worry too much about countable, uncountable. Students really struggle with countable, uncountable. It's not so important here. The main thing I want you to notice is, can you find single and plural, especially the plurals? They really stand out and help you. Okay, next video we're going to talk more about how you can get more information about these nouns, help you to really focus on only a few words that can be the possible answer. Great, thank you.